It is my 1 year anniversary on YouTube. I'm super excited. I can't believe it's been a year already. Like that's crazy. I feel like so much has happened in the last year that I never would have anticipated that came directly from that very first video that I posted of me going from 0 to 2000. This video has just been this launching pad for connecting me with so many different people. Like at the end of the day, I just want to say like thank you to those of you who have stuck with me ever since seeing this video. Or I mean, I think this is how a lot of people found me, and I'm grateful for anybody who stuck around. Okay, let's do a quick Q&A. Do you have any plans on attempting to become a title player? From Caleb. So, yeah, I would love that. I think I like to take goals in like smaller steps, if that makes sense. So like right now, my next goal is with my over the board rating, obviously. Getting that to 2000 would make me a USCF expert. So that is like my first like being titled goal. It's not titled enough to play in Title Tuesday, I don't think, but you know. And then, you know, we'll kind of go from there. I think if I can start playing in FIDE rated tournaments, that will help. But my over the board play at this point is just a little bit inconsistent, both in the way that I'm like playing chess, like I play very inconsistently, but also the opponents that I get. Like my last tournament, I played everybody from like a 700 rated player to a literal 2000 rated player, so it's just all over the place. So yeah, it's definitely in the cards. It's definitely like my next focus, I think, but I don't really have a set like time period that I would like to get it in. Do you recommend playing shorter time controls to improve at rapid, or just stick to rapid? So I think if you have a problem with, like I did, playing too slowly, I think shorter time controls can help with time management. And also, I think it's worth playing Blitz to test out new openings. That's what I found. Or practice new openings and get like experience in those positions. And it's also just like fun. So I'd say if you're struggling with time management on the being too slow side, like playing Blitz and Bullet is definitely the way to go, because it just teaches you to make a move, like make any move that will not lose the game. My question is, how do you speed up calculation in the middle game in a Blitz game at the high elos? Your opponents play a lot of theory, so you need to play one of very few moves not to lose outright. I think a lot of that is practice, and also knowing the time, being able to know the moments where you need to spend time calculating, and also knowing the moments where you shouldn't. So a lot of that is recognizing forcing moves. So if you have any checks, captures, I like to limit it to those two, because like threats, like what does that even mean? If you have any of those, I think it's worth taking the time to like calculate a few lines deep. If your opponent has any of those, I think it's worth it. And then yeah, like I said, literally just practice. And like I said, evaluation is like it's such a big part of that. I'm also not great at calculation, but at a certain point you just have to make a move, especially in faster time controls. But if you have a concrete line and you can see it all the way to the end, I mean, there you go. What textbooks do you think helped you the most in improving? Or what kind of training? Yeah, so I was talking about chess books before, and the answer is like I used a lot of YouTube videos. And so, okay, the way that I used many YouTube videos is like, okay, for example, an openings video. I would sit down, I would set my computer or my phone next to me with the video playing, and then I would have a chessboard in front of me, because I was trying to make those tactile connections. So I would play the video, it would like say, okay, you go here, 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 and here. And then I'd pause the video, play that line out on my board, and then play it. And then if, you know, they went back and said, and if they do this, you have to do this, pause it, play the moves out on my board, like reset the pieces wherever they needed to be. So I had that like tactile movement, not tactical, just to make that connection a little bit clearer. So that's how I used it for like openings, and same with like endgame stuff. As far as specific books, like I'm trying to think. So in my like second or third YouTube video, it's like a Q&A one, and I'm wearing a yellow shirt in the thumbnail, I'm pretty sure. I answered the book question, and I give a like pretty decent list of books that helped me. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head. Oh, but right now I'm working through Winning Chess Strategies, I believe it's called. I think that's what it's called. Let me go get it. Hold on, 1 second. No, I was wrong. I think Winning Chess Strategies is on my list of what I want, but this one is Chess Tactics from Scratch. which I'm borrowing from a club member and I need to take it back to them this week. So I need to finish it this week. It's probably not going to happen. What in your opinion is the most overrated and most underrated sources of learning chess that is being used today? From Juan. I think books. Okay, let's talk some more about books. I think my answer to this is books, but I don't think that books are bad. I think people use them too much when they should just be playing games. Oh, also going along with that is going through master games. I think below the 1800 level, unless you have a coach or somebody walking you through the master games, I think just reading a book that has Botvinnik's best, however many games. I never found that to be very helpful, and maybe it helps other people, but it's just sounds to me so time consuming when you could be using that time on something that is a little bit more directly applicable to your own chess. So if I were to use a book, I would rather it be on something that has to do with testing my calculation and actually practicing the calculation, or teaching me an opening or something with the end game. If you have somebody to talk you through it, or if it's well written, I guess that makes sense, but I think it's just a little too time consuming, in my opinion. Most underrated sources of learning, videos. Especially my video. No. Yeah, I learned so much just by watching a lot of YouTube videos. It also depends on the videos you watch, because I think watching a lot of videos is more on the entertainment side of things. So you have to pick the right videos, but watching, and I think the key is re-watching videos. So I have a few that, for example, I can think of a few off the top of my head. Daniel Naroditsky's Endgame series. I haven't caught up to the most recent ones he's done, but I for a while he had a series going of pawn endgames. I watched and rewatched those so many times, and those were my go-to right before a tournament, just to refresh my memory of these pawn endgames. Hanging pawns, yes, also very good. Yeah, I can think of a couple off the top of my head that I learned a ton from those opening theory videos from Hanging Pawns. Eric Rosen did lessons with Andrea Botez. I think there's 3 of those videos that are each an hour long that I would cycle through, learning London theory. When I watch speedrun videos, I like to find ones that are in an opening that I'm struggling with, so I can sort of see how a stronger player thinks about middle game plans. How did you push through, from Jordy, how did you push through periods where you didn't have motivation and where you didn't feel like doing chess? How were you able to stay motivated and focused in these periods? So I would say these I'm obsessed with chess, if you can't tell. So these periods didn't come up a lot. When they did come up was usually after tournaments or after I was tilted. Genuinely, the best advice I have for my past self is just take a break, take 2 or 3 days off of chess, not doing anything chess related. So that sort of helped flush everything out. Yeah, just taking breaks and then coming back with a better mental. Again, obviously easier said than done. But playing chess every day for the longest time, and then once you get on tilt and you're just losing day after day, that's when you know you need a break. Okay, building on the previous question was, I play slower just like you and usually get advantage by squeezing the advantage gradually, which is inevitable due to my openings, Botvinnik English and King's Indian. When I analyze my games, it's dead even 30-35 moves deep, and you can't punch easily at that point, as you usually have 30 seconds left each. Are there any ways to optimize your strategy, even though your opening doesn't support shorter time controls? Practice is good for mistakes, but this is inherent structural time issue. Yeah, that's just a problem, I think, with playing the slower openings, which I get a little bit with the London and the French, because they often end up being more positional. If you can find videos of grandmasters playing your opening, see what their typical middle game plans are, I think that helps a lot. So you just have an idea and a few general moves floating around of okay, it'd be nice if I could get my knight to the d5 square or whatever it happens to be. So then the idea is that you're still reacting to your opponent's moves and responding to your opponent's moves, but if they make a move that doesn't affect your plan, then you can just quickly play it, and then you don't get in as much time trouble, if that makes sense. And then if it gets tactical, hopefully you'll just have the time, I guess. It's just hard. Faster chess is inherently just, that's the reality of it. It's just more difficult. Also, Puzzle Rush helps a lot, because it helps you see those moments where where there's a tactic available, helps you sort of keep your radar going. And then if you're always just looking for those checks, and yeah, you'll find the tactics eventually. But I totally get the struggle with playing slower openings, and you're just sort of playing this maneuvering game. You don't really have time to calculate if, like, okay, is this the right moment to break with the pawn, or should I wait, or should I just crash open with a knight sacrifice, or like what should I do? So okay, Jordy asks, what if the break turns into weeks or months? I've never had this issue because I think a huge part of it is I've got a chess club and I have motivation to beat the guys at my chess club, and I like that external motivation helps. So like having somebody who's keeping you accountable, even if it's not directly, it's like, well, I don't want to lose to that middle school kid again. So I'm going to study and I'm going to get better so I can win. I think it's a personality thing too, because I have a very obsessive personality. So taking a break was the hard part for me, and I like was chomping at the bit to get back into it. But if you're the type of person who's a little bit more like restless personality, if that makes sense, like you like chess and you want to get better at chess, but the sitting down and actually doing it part is hard. I think just like you just got to make a schedule for yourself and like set alarms and like stick to it. If you want to be improving, like sticking to that every day, setting aside actual time to do that in your day, in your calendar. And then when you have to take a break, you have to set a day that you're like, okay, I'm going to come back this day. And if you have an accountability person that you can like say, hey, make sure I'm like back online this day, that would be super.